is not safe. When women rather look for men. Good day and welcome, viewers. Today we will go to Lagos. I said it yesterday. So this is Lagos life. I showed you the headlines yesterday, but let me show you again the cover page of this beautiful lady, which contains this beautiful lady. Yes, Nigerian ladies are very beautiful. Hmm? She is not yellow. In Nigeria, they call them yellow, hmm? Like half caste. Hmm? If they are black, they are beautiful. If they are yellow, they are still beautiful. Like this woman. I think she's called, the name is Neka Osonoko. Mrs. Neka Asonoko. Unfortunately, doubtlessly, the face now should be battered by the weather. Or by the time, sorry. Okay, by both the weather and time. 33 years is no joke. So you can imagine how the face will look like now. Hmm? Now let's go to uh, the stories. Our party manifesto by women. We shall bypass that. Then, hubby, wife, fight over live-in lava. Hubby and wife fight over live-in lava. Let me read it. There was a pandemonium at Ikete, Surulere, Lagos, when a welder, Mrs. Ola Omaju, beat his wife to unconsciousness for fighting with his live-in lover. Listeners, this is due to nothing but uh, kindness, magnanimity, being sympathy to people. Mm. So when we are talking of sympathy or apathy, it has a line, where the sympathy is involving opposite sex. It can be dangerous. So this is where magnanimity involves people of opposite sex. Let's go on. Let's read on. Lagos life learned that the living lover, who was chased out of her matrimonial home 5 months ago by her husband, has been staying with the couple because they hail from the same town. They hail from the same town, Ayepe, Ayepe in Ogun State. The Yorubas know it. Ayepe in Ogun State, playing the Good Samaritan. The states now in Nigeria have many. It might no longer be in Ogun State, but a different state. But the town is Ayepe. The town still remains Ayepe. Um, playing the Good Samaritan. Playing the Good Samaritan, Mr. Amaju allowed the lady to stay with them pending the time the issue would be resolved. New paragraph. But as days went by, it was discovered that being the woman has not been making any plans for reconciliation with her husband, who hails from Ibadan. Can you hear that? She came so that she would settle with her former husband. But people noticed that she was adamant. She didn't care whether the husband liked her or not, whether they haven't followed up for her or not. She didn't care, and people were noticing. You can, you can, you can trust how curious human beings are. Hmm? So let's see. Mhm. Making any plans for reconciliation with her husband, who hails from Ibadan. So the husband hails from Ibadan. Nigerians will say Ibadan. We say Ibadan, but in actual fact, it's Ibadan. Hmm? Instead, she was bringing her property into the house, into the house in bits. So people were noticing. Instead of reconciling with the husband, she was from time to time she will bring in that maybe they was notice that she bring a portfolio, handbag, maybe cooking utensil. People were watching. People were watching in bits. New paragraph. According to Lagos Life sources, Amaju's wife, a trader at Daleko Market, Isolo, had spies, spies in inverted commas, had spies in the house who usually told her about her husband's intimacy with the lady. Her spies, however, told her that nothing serious was going on between him and the lady. Full stop. New paragraph. When the affair became when the affair began to drag on, they reported to his wife as usual, but assured her that the lady would soon go away and it would be the end of the relationship. Um, Lagos Life gathered that signs of cracks in the couple's marital life became apparent when the affair didn't end as the spies predicted. They advised her to deal with the husband snatcher. Sources disclose that when she confronted him, he admitted that all her accusations were correct and she would do whatever added that she could do whatever she wanted as he was not about to end the relationship. Can you imagine that? Hmm? And the woman too, the moving lady too doesn't care. She loves it. She doesn't care whether the man is married or not. Hmm? She doesn't give a damn. Hmm? Uh-huh. He would about to if she, whether whatever she wanted, as he was not about to end the relationship. His wife, mother, and four, his wife, mother, and four was said to have threatened him that she would deal with both of them if he did not end the affair as soon as possible. I think four here is four children. As soon as possible. Yeah. New paragraph. As soon as Amaju realized that his wife knew about his affair with the lady, he threw caution to the winds and stopped being discreet about it. It was gathered that he used to take the lady out occasionally, thereby neglecting his wife. Can you imagine that? Hmm? The wife's opponent, the wife's opportunity to deal with her husband's girlfriend came when she came back early from the market. Continued on back page. When she came back early from the market, when she came back early from the market, uh, the lady sleeping. Oh, it's not continued well. Right over and okay, let me read it. The lady sleeping on the same bed with her husband. Maybe he came back early and saw the lady sleeping with her husband, but it's that's what is in the paper. So I'm reading, maybe. Okay. Now, sleeping on the same bed with her husband. Women can women can absorb nonsense from men. Okay, and vice versa too. How? Hmm? Charged like a wounded lion, she moved closer to the lady, stripped her naked, and started calling neighbors, and started calling neighbors to come and watch the husband snatcher. Outraged, Amaju took sides with the lady and started beating his wife. After some moments of terrible beatings, the woman shrieked in pain, fell, and fainted. Oh, this brought the husband. to his knees, to his senses. Horrified at what he had done, he took to his heels, but was stopped by neighbors and sympathizers. Oh, that, the thing is, why is and the lady is there with them, three of them, and you see this man beating his wife, and you are adamant. Oh my God! Sources dislodge that she was rushed to a clinic at Ogulana Drive, Surulere, where she was admitted and treated. Although she is now said to be recuperating, she has sworn never to go back to the house unless the husband sends the lady away and promises to end the affair. Of course. So women are their own enemies. This is why usually women will ask the where, because the wife will ask the where. I mean, when they say the where, it means which part of the body of the lady is attracting him that the wife, doesn't have. You say the where, the nose, the mouth, the ears. So women can suffer. Mhm. She will ponder, say, what does this lady have that your wife, I don't have? So some ladies say the where, the head, the nose, the teeth, the what, the where. So she will imagine. Hmm? What is it that is attracting this lady to you, my husband? What is it? What does she have that I don't have? So ladies suffer. Men also suffer. I've seen such cases too concerning men. That's the irony of love. Hmm? Okay, let's go to the next story. British Museum traces route to Nigerian artworks. Hmm? So it had been believed that anything nice came from the West, but no. This article is saying no. Let's read it. British Museum expedition to eastern Nigeria has returned to London with valuable archaeological samples that may firmly establish the source of metals used to make the great 14th century artworks of West Africa. Paragraph. According to the London Press Service, iso- isotope and carbon dating tests to be conducted on samples of metal ores and charcoal collected from the old mining town Igbo Igbo in Anambra State in eastern Nigeria could confirm that mining and smelting technology were indigenous and not acquired from the Mediterranean area. So Africans were doing these things. Mm. Africans were not dumb. They had their own uh, mental capabilities. Maybe because we have no records, we don't no written records. Maybe that's why it looks like we are backward. Mm. If all these things were written down for Africans, maybe we should have been far away. Humanitarian era. New paragraph. In January, Dr. Paul Craddock of the British Museum's Research Department joined the University of Nigeria's Dr. The University of, joined the University of Nigeria's Dr. Vincent Chikwendu, head of the head of archaeology, and Alphonse Omeji of the geology department for a month-long excavation of the 9th century mines of Igbo area. Full stop. New paragraph. He said the team collected enough samples for stable isotope and carbon tests to establish the local sources to establish the local sources of the copper. Sorry, to establish the local sources of copper and lead used in early artworks. Until recently, most experts believed the metals and technology used to make the early the early as well as 19th century bronzes had no local origin. Can you hear that? However, research by scientists at the British Museum and the University of Toronto involving isotopes tests on impurities in Nigeria bronze artifacts has now established that the copper, lead, and tin were obtained locally and that smelting technology was also developed in West Africa. Full stop. Uh, New paragraph. Dr. Craddock said, we were hoping to find in the Igbo areas at the place is torn a bit, but I think it's let me fix two words there. In the Igbo area, in the Igbo in the mines. Oh, sorry, let me take it again. We were hoping to find in the Igbo area the ashes containing that I think it's the ashes containing great heaps of continuous layers of ores. Some parts are torn, but I believe I'm right with the words. Contain, con, continue, con, of heaps, sorry, containing great heaps of continuous layers of ores. Full stop. Instead, we found infa- in, instead we found seated sites showing signs of mining and smelting activities, such as charcoal. Such as charcoal. That's the end. Let's go to uh, tidbits. Yes, tidbits. This is foreign news. It's like life and love foreign news. Center page. A miracle, a miracle cat, a miracle cat named Lincoln is back to his old tricks now that his health has been improved with a human pacemaker. That's wonderful. So this involving a cat, oh, there are some human beings somewhere who cannot get that chance. That's the irony of life. Sitting down on a cat. There are so many places in the world where human beings are crying for some or for some help like this, medical achievements like this, or medical help like this. The 11-year-old Siamese had some problems with his ticker and became the second cat in history to have a pacemaker implanted in his chest. He's right back to being king of the house like he always has been, said the cat's owner, Douglas Thompson of Fairport, New York. Full stop. A rocky call, I think it's a new story. A rocky call had to be rescued from his handcuffs. Yes, isn't it? From his handcuffs. I remember this story well. Yeah, I remember this story. A rocky call had to be rescued from his own handcuffs after he snapped them on his wrist. Dash, without realizing he had lost the key. Now, David Tanner, 21 of London, England, told superiors and the firefighters who freed him that on he put the cuffs on to make sure they worked, but he didn't in advance check that he had the opener. Like put it on like that. Mm. So he has been a prisoner for some minutes anyway, or a suspect for some minutes. Now, another story. Police charge a 25-year-old man with setting fire to an apartment house after he raced from the building with his trousers in flames. The gasoline fumes, the gasoline fumes must have gotten inside his pants, said William Porter, an arson investigator. with the police department. In Holyoke, comma, Manchester, USA, James J. James J. Wa- Wawrzyniak of Winston, Connecticut, was arrested. Neither he nor the tenants of the apartment were injured, cops said. Moms use school over teens abortion. Priest prefers 66 churches. Oh, driver finds dead body in his roof, on his roof. Oh, okay, on his roof. Human beats nurse rape suspect. Uh, then buried by family. I don't know if there's time to go into this. Getting a closer look. Look at this picture. A small boy and a gator, an alligator in the house. Getting a closer look. That's the small boy playing with an alligator, I believe. Let's see. Priest prefers sisters. Priest. Moms use school over teens abortion. I don't think it's worth reading. Then, priest prefers 66 churches. Interesting. Authorities were astounded when they finally collared the suspected ringleader of a gang of church thieves and found he was a priest. Oh, wonderful. I think that's enough. That's enough for us. And found he was a priest. Now, wrong body buried by family. The grief-stricken family of Irene Haybreed paid their last respect at the tearful gravesite ceremony. I think it's also not well. It's been happening, swapping of dead bodies and something like that, or either lies involving a dead body. So either swapping by mistake or something like. So let's leave that. Driver finds dead body on his roof. Let's read that at least partly. Donald K. Foots Jr. stood rooted in horror when he turned to check his van for damage and saw a dead man dangling from the roof. He was very much in shock when he saw the body, said Virginia U.S. State Police Sergeant E.R. Kisa in paragraph and in inverted commas. He knew he'd hit somebody, but didn't know what. Mm. His stunned 30-year-old Roanoke man had been driving on the. He stunned. Oh, sorry. This is my mistake. The stunned 30-year-old Roanoke man had been driving on the on the interstate at 11 p.m. on a dark, overcast night when he suddenly spotted a man along the side of the road. Full stop. An instant later, something smacked against and shattered the passenger side of his windscreen. I just thought somebody had thrown a rock at the van, he said. I didn't know what had happened. Unknown to force, 53-year-old Leslie Bonds and a pal had been driving on the same highway when they ran out of gas. The friend told Bonds to stay in the car while he ran to get gas for help. The friend told police he heard a thump and saw Bonds sail through the air. The only thing left was Bonds' tennis shoes. Meanwhile, Foots didn't want to stop along the dark highway, so he pulled off at the next exit. and into a lighted restaurant parking lot. Oh, you are right. Life is precious. Mm. New paragraph. He started in to call police, but the restaurant was closing. An employee wouldn't let him enter. He turned to his van to check for damage and saw a dead man hanging there. Police called the incident a tragic incident and used foods and said foods would not be charged. Human beat snares rape suspect. Let's see. A man believed to be responsible for at least 20 bedroom assaults on women is now behind bars because of the raw courage of pretty blue-eyed blonde called Christine Bridges Dash, who was the human bait used to trap him. The 28-year-old Denver police detective, comma, her 38 caliber service revolver clutched in her trembling hand laid in a darkened sorry that part is perforated, laid in a darkened room as the shadowy figure of the man crept towards her. Just as the man reached the foot of the bed, the lights flashed on. Detective Dave, Detective Dave Ponterella, Detective Dave Ponterella sprang from a closet and Bridges threw back the cover. Full stop. The two cops had their scary covered. Sorry, the two cops had their query covered. Then brackets. I've been in more dangerous, life-threatening situations, but this scared me more than anything else. Inverted commas close. Uh, Miss Bridges told the news. Miss Bridges told the news. Uh, Told the news. My heart was pounding so hard, I was sure the guy could hear it. New paragraph. The man napped in the bedroom. The man napped in the bedroom was identified by police as 29-year-old Frank Vargas. That's the rapist, I suppose. Comma, the alleged sky mask rapist, whose long string of assaults had singled young women living in fear since the summer of 1983. He was initially charged with sexual assault and burglary and held on $1.2 million, about 9.30 naira, about 9.30 million naira in brackets bond. So the bond was 1.2 million, which in Nigerian currency is nine was at the time was 9.3 million bond. Since his arrest, he has been charged with 5 additional counts of assaults. We've been able to connect his fingerprints to some of the other assault cases, she explained. The trap for the sky mask suspect was set after a couple reported seeing a prowler near the first floor duplex, duplex apartment neighbor woman, of a neighbor woman they knew was away. They knew the woman was away. Police found that a screen had been pried from a bedroom window. A few nights later, Miss Bridges drove to the apartment to a rented car like the one owned by the woman who lived there. She went inside, made dinner, watched television, and went to bed, gun in hand. The trap was set. Less than 2 hours later, the man identified as Vargas popped out popped out the window screen and entered the apartment. Of course, and he was nabbed. Mm. Conman gets stolen panties back. Well, the title is dicey. Let's see what is there. Panty loving, panty loving people Tom Darrell Porter won a bizarre battle in California, USA Superior Court, when a judge ordered lawmen to return 300 pairs of unders, ladies' unders seized from his home. I love it. Panty loving people Tom. Can you hear that? Panty loving people Tom. Tom, sorry. Panty loving people Tom. Hmm? Okay. Uh, seized from his home. Next paragraph. The lingerie crazy ex-con was sentenced to 3 years in prison in 1981 for breaking into women's houses and pilfering their panties. Pilfering their panties. Police who raided former uh, Ventura, California home confiscated a truly assorted assortment of unmentioned unmentionables allegedly taken in the burglaries. Prosecutors later proved some of the lacy loss was some of the lacy loot was stolen, but presented no evidence to show when he got 300 other panties, bras, and body stockings. Can you imagine that? What are you doing with them? Hmm? And body stockings. So Fortner, now on parole, went to court to get them back. And Deputy District Attorney Robert Meyers said Judges Charles McGrath was forced to grant his wish. Okay. So the judge really had no option. Meyers said there there were no women who came forward and there are these are my panties. None of the women came forward to say these are my panties. So they gave his 300 panties back to him. Whatever he's going to do with them is his own problem. Hmm? Police who raided Fortress Ventura, California, whom confiscated a truly assortment. Oh, is it a repetition? Okay, let me read it. Also, a truly assortment of unmentionable. I think it's repeat. No, no, no. That's an old story. Equipment behind. These were young. Okay. Mayor said Fortner had installed the mirrors. Look, let me go backward because I'm lost. But McGrath refused to return the two-way mirrors that led to the 42-year-old tree trimmer's conviction as a peeping Tom. Mhm. Yes, that's it. Mayor said Fortner had installed the mirrors in his home to spy on his on to spy on the cries of the live-in housekeepers. These were young. These were young, quiet, attractive women, and he had set up video equipment behind the mirrors so he could watch while they were undressed. He's gone too far. Everybody spies to some extent, but uh, I would call this professional spying, or crazy spying. Just while they undressed, the prosecutor said, Fortner was also convicted of fondling a girl who applied for a housekeeping job. But that's no news. Eh? It's common. I don't say it's right, but I'm saying it's common. He was diagnosed as a mentally disordered sex offender and sent to a mental hospital, but was shipped off to prison when doctors concluded he was up, he was untreatable. He was untreatable. The deputy district attorney said, "This is a man with a whole lot of problems, including his fetish for women's underwear," the prosecutor told the news. There are men like that. Hmm? So this more than a story that is more than 33 years old. More than 33 years old. So, like I said, the paper looks unkept, but the stories are never unkept. Uh, Ahmed, sports for me is a lifelong affair. No, not worth reading. It's too long even. It could have been good for sportsmen, but it's not worth reading. Modern etiquette. Habiba on Thursday. One scarf, several looks. Viewers, I think we should stop here and continue with the same paper later because uh, it's, it contains, there are still several pages to cover. So let's stop here and I think we will go to the Quran before we come back to continue with this paper, God willing. Thank you very much. And God bless you. Ila likai. Bye bye.